We are so excited to have you listening to NABWIC, the National Association of Black Women in Construction Block Talk Radio Show. Please call, text, or email family, business associates, or friends and tell them that we are on the air right now. Or they can join us on the internet by logging in to www.blogtalkradio.com/NABWIC or by phone at 714-459-3918 and press 1 to join our conversation with questions or comments. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Don't forget to follow us by liking our page and post your questions or comments. NABWIC's intent is to always go into the high schools and colleges to encourage our young Black girls and women to enter into the construction industry and to take interest into the STEM programs that are offered. We encourage you to listen to this show or past shows on the internet by logging in at www.blogtalkradio.com/NABWIC. Thank you, and we're back.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful Wednesday here at Nabwic Talk. I am your host today, Zakia Flagg. I'm here in the studio with Laurel Rutledge. Good morning, Miss Rutledge.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I am blessed. Thank you so much. How are you? Thank you for being here.
I'm doing great. Look, any day on this side of the daisies is a good day.
I love that. I've never quite heard it put that way, but I love that. All right. So I usually like to just jump right in. That's just my interview style. So I would like for you to share with our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what it is that you do.
Of course. So thank you, first of all, for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of Nabwic and how all of this transpired, I think, is just truly a divine intervention. I came to do what I'm doing now in a way that I never could have planned. You know, I started out as an accountant, and then I did internal audits, and then I did enterprise risk management consulting, and then I did human resources, and all of that was a way to set a foundation for me to do what I do now, which is support women-owned and women co-owned businesses that are specifically professional services businesses as they build their organizations by connecting a really strong business strategy to a really exceptional organizational strategy. Because I believe that in order to have a great people strategy, you have to start with a good business strategy, because no matter whether you're building a business, a career, or a life, it all comes down to strategy and people. So it's all been about that 27 to 30-year corporate career that led me to this desire to serve bigger and serve better and lift up women as we continue to build wealth, build legacy, and lift up our communities.
That is amazing. I love that. Can you give us a little example of how you support women in business or businesses in general?
Sure. So there are a few ways that I support. One of the main ways is through business consulting and advisory services. So my clients generally have really good businesses. But what's happened is they've reached a point where with their teams, they're not necessarily getting the traction that they wanted. They're still operating more as founders or doers as opposed to really promoting themselves to CEO. And that's what I specifically find a lot with women-owned businesses, because we get emotionally attached to our people. And there's an ability to be compassionate, but remove the emotion so that you can remember that you're running a business. And so the way I help these business owners is to refocus them on, one, what is it and who are you in this business, right? Who are you as a person? Who are you as a leader? Why did you start this business in the first place? What is your vision for what you want to do and how you want to impact the world? And then what actions are you going to take, including the design of a really strong, clear, effective organization that has expectations that people understand, that has accountability, and that also has compassion, direction, and love, if you will, to ensure that everyone that's there is truly operating in their genius towards a common goal. It is usually not about an inability of the leader to get things done. Again, they have successful businesses. What it is when that rub starts to happen between getting people to do things well versus being able to do things well yourself, that's when things start to get a little sketchy. And because my background has both the business side and the consulting side and the human resources side, I'm able to bring all of those pieces to bear when I'm working with a client to get their business really moving in a way that is most effective and efficient and getting the best out of their people. Because leadership is about getting things done with, through, by, and for other people. And so if you're a CEO, I want you elevating yourself to that CEO role and not still being in every decision and in every meeting. That's why you let's make sure the team is operating optimally. Because leadership is about
that sounds amazing. And I can honestly say, I'm sure that a lot of our listeners who are business owners, such as myself included, can definitely benefit from your services, because as business owners, especially small business owners, we do tend to be more in the business as opposed to delegating certain tasks or certain roles out. We'll do it. We'll make the call. We'll go to the meeting. And it sounds like your services is kind of going to be an example, or it's going to give us a tool, if you will, on how to separate that and go ahead and delegate that out and be comfortable with it too. So I think that that's amazing. With that said, what does a day-to-day life, a day-to-day in your life, what does your days look like in your business doing that?
Yes, it is. I'm truly blessed because I get to work with some incredible people, and more people keep coming into my circle. And I believe about being in service, right? And if you are in service, that means it is not about you, it's about the other person. And so a typical day in my life, one, starts, of course, with prayer and meditation, because you got to remember who you are and whose you are. And I, with my messy mind, have to get grounded first thing in the day. So with that, and then a workout, and then it's all about clients and delivering services. So I may be doing something like this, doing an interview. I may be working with some of my corporate clients, bigger corporate clients, where I will do still some executive coaching or leadership workshops with them. So still working with some corporate leaders that I know, because I refuse to be the person who just is documentation for you to get rid of somebody. We don't do that over here. But if you're really interested in helping develop leaders, I do that. But then the rest of my day is really spent with looking at the businesses of my clients. Where are they now? Is it time to do some more role clarity for them? Because that's usually where some of the problem is. Do we need to go back and look at prioritizing what the tasks are against an overall objective? Because sometimes our priorities get messed up, and then we're doing all of this work around something that's not going to get us where we want to be. So doing some prioritization work that really says, look, is this thing that we're doing just a detour that we need to take and we're going to learn something, or is this really derailing us? And so those stop, continue, start lists, in that order, stop, continue, start lists are important. And then ultimately really getting my leaders to pause and breathe and reset around what it is they're really trying to do at least once a quarter, because time is not renewable. And so when we keep just going, and we're not paying attention to the what, then we get caught up in the how. And if you focus on the what, the how will take care of itself. And so I spend the day really trying to continue to build up my skills as a lifelong learner so that I am continuing to bring good information, good skills, good perspectives to my clients, because they're paying me, and it is my obligation and my privilege to bring the best that I can possibly bring to them, because they're making a choice, and I do not take that lightly, that they're choosing to work with me. So it's that combination of taking care of me first, then taking care of my clients, and then resting and trying to get some golf in, because my golf game is not good. So we're working on that.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. I love it. And I super heard you when you said sometimes we have to take that pause, even if it's quarterly, just kind of fall back and evaluate yourself or just look at the business, that is very, very helpful to myself. And like I said, possibly to a lot of our listeners. So thank you for dropping some gems there. Share with us a little bit about what is on the horizon? What's going on with your business on the horizon?
You know, it's
some new projects or anything.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is, and maybe some of the listeners have seen this too, this is year 7 of my business. And, you know, for those who are starting businesses or are in business, you know, this entrepreneur journey is not easy. It is truly a faith walk, right? And I have found in this year 7 that there are many things that are coming up now that I designed my business to do when I started in 2018. Yet I allowed influence, right, of others that I may have given, how do I put this nicely? I may have given more credence to their knowledge than they necessarily had, allowed that to influence kind of the things I did or how I wanted to do them. And so this year's kind of 6 and 7 for me has been getting regrounded in what my genius is and how I love to deliver work to the world. And so what's coming on the horizon for me is something that's really simple. I think many of us understand the power of investing in yourself, right? That's dollars, that's time, that's resources well spent. We also, in this day and time, have likely spent some money and 5 figures plus with people who have overpromised and underdelivered. And some of that is about really great marketing. Some of that is about a desire sometimes to just find the silver bullet. And what's coming up on the horizon for me is a reset, which says, absolutely, I have that big full day strategy session for that CEO that is a 7+ figure business that is coming here to me in Houston. It's a high ticket item, and we dive deep into your business. It is a founder's intensive, and I call it intensive for a reason, because we're going to get some work done. This is not about coaching. I am an advisor and a consultant with some deep coaching baked in, so we're going to get to work. So I have that, right? I have the 3-month coaching program that gives people an opportunity over a period of time to really get some action. But what I found is on the horizon for me is what I'm calling my super session, right? It is a 90-minute session that I actually designed 7 years ago. It is 90 minutes of get you out of your rut. And I actually named it that, out of your rut. And it is an opportunity for someone to spend, it's not free, it is still an investment, but it is a much smaller investment for a much bigger return that gives someone a chance to truly get moving. If you are just in a rut, you don't know what to do next, you got too much going on, it's an opportunity to get with someone who is just as interested in your business success as I am in my own. And it's 90 minutes, hard-hitting 90 minutes, focused on a couple of things, and you leave there with some action items and some clarity more than anything. So that's what's on the horizon for me, is really doing some of those sessions that walk people through what this alignment vision action framework is that I've been using for 30 years, but just finally actually put it on paper so people see, no, there really is a method to the madness. And doing it in a way that is much more accessible for people. They don't feel like they've had to spend, $20, $30, $40, $60,000 for someone that they kind of sort of think they know, but they do get a chance to get some good return on their effort, because time is not renewable. And I am adamant that if you're going to spend time with me, you are going to get value. And if in our conversations, I recognize that I am not the person, I'm in service. That means that you now get referred to someone in my network who I know is amazing and maybe a better fit, because it's not about me. It is about being in service to the person who has reached out to me. So that's kind of what's on the horizon for me, is these shorter super sessions that get people moving, because we always get stuck at some point. And sometimes you just need someone outside of the day-to-day fray to help you get moving, to help you get out of that rut.
OMG, the 90-minute super session. That's amazing for quite a few reasons. The way the world is set up now, we move fast. We want immediate results. Our attention spans are really, really, really short. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, now, results right now. I don't see anything happening. I'm out of here. This isn't worth it. So the fact that you came up with the 90-minute super session, That is amazing. Can you share with our listeners real quick? And I usually ask this toward the end, and I may do it again at the end. But could you share with our listeners really quick how they would find you and be able to potentially sign up or try to reserve a spot for the super session, the 90-minute super session?
Absolutely. So the easiest way is everything about me is on my website. Now, I have to be honest, I haven't loaded the super session out there yet, but you can find me at laurelrutledge.com. I know, Laurel, see, you're working on stuff and don't even work on your own stuff, right? But if you go to laurelrutledge.com, you can just reach out to me. That email is right there. Put a contact and say, just put in the information, super session, and I'll get right back to you because those all come directly to me.
That sounds great. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a very, very, very short commercial break. I always like to remind our listeners to, if you have any comments or questions for Laurel, please give us a call at 714-459-3918. Again, that's 714-459-3918. We're going to take a very short commercial break, and we're going to be back with more conversation with Ms. Rutledge.
We are so excited to have you listening to NABWIC, the National Association of Black Women in Construction. Good morning. You are listening to Nabwic, the National Association of We are so excited to have you listening to NABWIC, the National Association of Black Women in Construction Blog Talk Radio Show. Please call, text, or email family, business associates, or friends and tell them that we are on the air right now. Or they can join us on the internet by logging in to www.blogtalkradio.com/NABWIC or by phone at 714-459-3918 and press 1 to join our conversation with questions or comments. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Don't forget to follow us by liking our page and post your questions or comments. NABWIC's intent is to always go into the high schools and colleges to encourage our young Black girls and women to enter into the construction industry and to take interest into the STEM programs that are offered. We encourage you to listen to this show or past shows on the internet by logging in at www.blogtalkradio.com/NABWIC. Thank you, and we're back.
All right. Thank you so much for still being here with us, Ms. Rutledge. So, question. What has been some of your biggest accomplishments thus far as your career?
That's a really good question.
Or clients, anything.
Right. I think there's a couple of things that stand out to me when I think about that question. The first one was when I decided to go, it was very early on. When I decided to go to grad school, I knew I wanted to be functionally fluent in Spanish by the time I left grad school because I'm a Texan. And I've studied French forever, but I lived in Texas. So I really wanted to get my Spanish up to speed. And I went to Indiana University, Kelley School of Business, and highly recommend. And I finished my degree at ESADE in Barcelona. And 3 of my 4 classes were in Spanish. And in fact, one of those was actually in Catalan. And so I started learning Spanish maybe a couple of months before I went over there. And then the first half of the semester, I was in Spanish class for like 5 hours a day. And I was able to finish. That was just, I don't know, the grace of God got me through that, but I made it happen. And it was such a great accomplishment to be able to do that. That was one. That was early on just for me. I think one of the most recent accomplishments that I had, and I was just telling somebody about this yesterday, is I had a client that was actually referred to me by her daughter. And she, small business owner, professional services firm, who was actually at a point where she was wanting to retire. So you think a lot of times we don't really think about that end game. And so she wanted to retire and was trying to figure out how to kind of move out of what she was doing day to day. It happened to be an accounting firm, and she was just really, really busy, especially during tax season. And she had 1 employee, and she was really at this place where I want to make sure that my clients are taken care of, and I want to be out of the business, but I want to do it in a way that gives me some return on this 20-plus year business that I built. And so through a 3-month program, I worked with her on, one, how do you have the conversation with your current employee who really is saying they want to buy the business but may not be really clear about what that means. So I walked her through how you have those conversations. 2, if you're thinking about getting rid of the business, what does that really mean for you? And it really came to, she just didn't want to have to be responsible for everything for a while. So she wanted to ease out. She wasn't ready to just quit, but she just didn't want to have the whole burden herself. So that clarity enables her to think differently about who she talked to and how she wanted to sell the business or dissolve her business. And then the third thing was really deciding how she was going to exit. And so I walked through that with her over a 3-month period. I had gotten a note that said she was able to sell her business. And then I literally, probably last month, got the most incredible email from this woman that said, I just have to let you know what's going on and where I am. I was able to sell my business to someone I hadn't even thought about because you talked to me about people I should be thinking about talking to. Sold my business to them. They bought my portfolio. They are taking such great care of my clients. My employee has been hired by them and is doing extraordinarily well, so much so that she's probably going to be a partner in this firm, and they're paying her much more than I ever could. And more importantly, I am able to mentor and support new accountants as they come into this business, and I'm able to take on work that I want to take on. I'm able to not do work that I don't want to do, and I am able to kind of ease myself out of this business into retirement where I'm going to be able to spend more time with my family and my grandkids. And I would not have been able to do that had we not had that 3 months of conversation. And she said, and for me, I needed the 3 months because I needed the time in between those sessions, because I do biweekly sessions, in between those sessions to really get some work done and think through the things that we talked about. So for me, hearing someone who initially you wouldn't think would be willing or wanting to invest in simply someone who is willing to advise them and coach them and counsel them and consult with them on an ultimate move out of their business, to hear her come back and say that our time together enabled her to do that in a way that has her exactly where she wanted to be, that just filled my cup to running over, because that's why I do this. It's about service. I am just as interested in my client's business as I am in my own, sometimes more so, and I need to focus on doing my business too, right? And making sure I'm keeping all my I's dotted and T's crossed. But that accomplishment as an entrepreneur is just beyond anything I could have imagined. And the fact that I have repeat clients and clients that are on retainer and who want the other one said, oh, so are you going to come work for us now? I'm like, no, we're not going to do that, but you got me as long as you need me. So that confirmation that what I'm doing and how I'm doing it is making a difference for people, that's all I ask for. It's about purpose. My parents told us, even if you have nothing, if you have a good name, you have everything. And so to be able to live up to the standards that they set for us and deliver exceptional service and see the impact on my clients it's why I do this. And it's the thing I have to remember on those days when entrepreneurship gets really hard.
Wow. That's amazing. And it's so rewarding. I'm sure you felt refreshed
Yes.
when your client shared that with you. That is truly, truly a career accomplishment, and congratulations to you on that. We are coming close to the end of our hour, but I do have a couple more questions for you. I wanted to know, is there anything that you wish that you had known before you started? Like in your journey and in your experience of helping other business owners, is there anything that you're like, wow, I wish I knew this before I started doing this job?
Well, the thing yes, absolutely. The thing that I wish I'd known is that not everyone who is advising business owners is meaning the same thing, using the same words, right? Words matter. And if you're working with people who have never had a corporate experience, that's not good or bad. It just is. but that means the language that you're using may be different. And so there were many things where I had a certain expectation from people that was not met as a function of us saying the same thing, but meaning something different. Strategy means something very specific to me because of my background and experience. That may not mean the same to an entrepreneur who's always been kind of an online business. So I wish I had known that the language that we use is, while the words are the same, the meanings are different, which can impact your outcome. That's a big one. And the other thing I wish I had really known is that it is important to know and understand at the very beginning, if you are going to, whether it's your side hustle or your full-time entrepreneur journey, that you are going to have to be ready to address, to acknowledge, to understand, and give grace to all of that stuff that's going to come up that you didn't even realize that was there. That head trash, the emotions, all of the things that have been buried because you are just an exceptional human and have been doing the dang thing forever. When you go out on that entrepreneur journey, all of that stuff is going to come with you. And to find a way, whether that's through therapy, whether that's through your village, whatever that is, to ensure you have grounding and ensure you have a place to work through all of that messiness that has nothing to do with the business you want to run, but everything to do with you as a new CEO, leader, queen of the world, and what you're going to do, because it can absolutely be a derailer if you are not ready. And I don't know that we prepare people enough for that messiness.
I love that. I love that. As you mentioned earlier, this entrepreneur or self-employed, as I like to call it, or business owner, whatever we all want to call it, it's such a faith walk, as you mentioned. It really is. So thank you so much for sharing that. We always like to find out from our guests any favorite books, authors, or any positive affirmations you can share with the listeners.
Sure. So there is an affirmation. There's actually 3 affirmations I have on my computer that I see every day. One is, and then I do have 2 books for people. One is, trust yourself. In this moment, you are enough. In this moment, you have all you need. That's the first one. The second one is, the second one is, I want to be the woman God intended me to be, and I am willing to be uncomfortable to become that woman. That's number 2. And then number 3 is one that I've heard before, and I was like, you need to write this down. Don't be mad about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. So those are my 3 affirmations. In the morning.
Okay. All right.
Right? The book, one of them is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. That's where you hear people a lot now talking about zone of genius, zone of excellence, the time construct. That's all Gay Hendricks. And it's HENDRICKS, The Big Leap, as in leaping off a building. The Big Leap. That's a good one. The next one I am reading is going to sound really weird, but this woman just, whatever she does, I'm there. And that is Fawn Weaver's latest book, Love and Whiskey, about the story of building Uncle Nearest Whiskey. And her strength as an entrepreneur, her grounding in faith, man, if y'all aren't following Fawn Weaver, let me tell you, if you need a word, get with some Fawn Weaver. And this book is so well written and has such great nuggets in it. But more importantly, she as a leader, I think about her, and I think about Miss Ann, as a matter of fact, just people who are so truly, fundamentally, unquestionably, non-negotiably grounded in who they are and who they are, and that leads everything that they do. And the strength and confidence and peace that comes from that is what gets me, because that's the peace that I'm seeking. It's not ease. Fawn says that all the time. She's like, I'm not asking for easy. He never promised it easy. I'm asking for peace. And that is a whole different mindset. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. What another wonderful Wednesday here at Nabwic Talk. And you are a Nabwic member, correct?
I am.
Fantastic. I'm happy to have you. Are you going to be joining us at the CBC?
I am hoping to move some things around because I have some client things that I could not move yet. But until the plane is off the tarmac, I am still believing that something's going to move, so I will be there. Because until the plane is gone without me, there's still possibility.
So we'll just say story's still developing. I respect that.
Yeah.
So with that, yes. So with that said, I just wanted to definitely thank you, Ms. Rutledge, for joining us here today at Nabwic Talks. I do want to reiterate one of your quotes, which was "Trust yourself. In this moment, you have all that you need." That really resonated with me. And also the Fawn Weaver book. I've heard good things about it. So hopefully our listeners are going to be able to take advantage of some of the gems that you dropped this morning. But we will be back next Wednesday with another fantastic episode of Nabwic Talks here at Blog Talk Radio. And that's it. We are going to end now, and we want to give everybody back the balance of their day. Thank you for joining Nabwic Talks, and we're out. Peace, blessings, everybody. Have a great day.
So this concludes our show.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time on Nabwic Talks Radio. All right, podcast. All right. Thank you for joining.